G'day everyone, today we're here for my semi-finals AFL tips and predictions. Obviously, as you can tell, my camera angle is a little bit different. I got a little bit of a new tripod. I'm just experimenting with a new little camera setup, angling down. So let me know down below in the comments if you think it's maybe better than the previous positions for the camera, but I might switch things up a little bit later on. Not too sure yet. Obviously, today we're here for my semi-finals tips. We've got the two games, but also previewing round one of the first week of the finals as well. And before we get into it, let's do a bit of a winner and margin comp. Remember back in the days I would do the winner and margin comps? Down in the comments below, have a pinned comment, or anywhere really. Comment down below who you think will win in the both games, give your tip and margin, and possibly we'll review them at the end of next week's tipping video, and maybe the winners can get prizes. Now for week one of the finals last week, I recorded a score of 2 out of 4. Weirdly enough though, I was still better than most, which kind of shocked me in a way, because I did get 2 correct. And to be honest with you, it wasn't the greatest round of tipping as well. We had a good start of the games, to be fair. Collingwood v Melbourne was awesome. The D's really should have won that game. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. They lost the game by 7. The Pies moved to a home prelim. And Carlton v Sydney, Carlton just scraped me over the line. But Sydney, fast finishing side, they probably could have run over the top of them if the game was played on for a bit extra. And of course, as a Saints fan, I was always going to back in my side, but it just wasn't our day. The Giants were simply the much better team, winning by 24. And Brisbane, I thought they'd win it, but a 48-point win, bit of danger signs for Port Adelaide, to be fair. That was a pretty convincing win for them, which we'll discuss a little bit more about as we head into the finals tips. Now, I did do my big calls for last week as well. I'll continue them throughout every game. It's just something a little bit extra as well, but obviously the punishments aren't happening for the finals because we've got a limited amount of games. And we start off with the first game. I said that Max Gorman would record 125 or more fantasy points. Obviously, when I said this, believing that the D's would win. Whilst the D's obviously lost, Max Gorman recorded 126 fantasy points. So I got the first one correct, which is pretty good for a final. I said that the Blues would win after trailing at 3-quarter time. They were up at all quarters really, so I couldn't really say I got that one right. Next one, I said that Sinclair would have 33 more disposals. He didn't record 33 or more. I think he had around 25, so a bit of a quietish game for Sinclair. And then the Lions to kick 10 or more goals in the first half. I should have said the second half, because the Lions, I think, kicked like 13 in that second half, but the first half was a bit of a low-scoring affair. So the one correct for the big calls, but they don't mean as much for the finals at all. Alrighty, so for the two games we got, starting off between Melbourne and Carlton, you can probably see in the background we got the scarves of the teams right there. It's going to be a very good game of footy. Already a sold-out crowd. They sold out very quickly. I wanted to get tickets to this game, but unfortunately I was waiting on Ticketek, and when I got in, they were sold out. So if anyone has possible ticket or two to the game, I'd love to go to get a matchday vlog out. And I wanted to do a ticket giveaway for this video as well, but unfortunately without tickets, it's a bit hard to do a ticket giveaway, isn't it? Now, obviously reviewing the game, Melbourne will look through their game against the Pies, and let me tell you, they probably should have won that game. You look at the stats, you look at the amount of inside 50s they had compared to Collingwood's 69 to 36. Pretty much almost doubling in the inside 50s, and even their big name plays, Gorn, Petrarch and Oliver, all I think had pretty good games. So if you told me they all had good games, and the fact that they almost stumbled their inside 50s over the Pies, I would have been like, well, how many points did the D's win by? But unfortunately, their conversion was just terrible inside 50. Even Gorn, as good as he was, a lot of his just high ball kicks didn't work, and Collingwood's defence were just way too good. I think it was the best defensive game that the Pies have played in arguably all year. I thought Darcy Moore on his game back was awesome. Isaac Quaynor having one of the better games we've seen him play. And, you know, they just took control of that defensively. Even Brad O'Meara, I know it was controversial. We don't know actually if he's going to be getting off or not in the tribunal, but I thought he had a pretty good game as well for his club. But yeah, Collingwood's defence pretty much won them the game, because they only had the 36 inside 50s, but they just were a bit more efficient with the ball. And when they transitioned, I just thought the Pies were cleaner. The D's, they won in the contest quite a bit, but yeah, they're just inside 50s and their conversion was terrible. Bailey Fritsch, yeah, I don't know what's up with him. A lot of his kicks just did not go anywhere near the goals, and I was a bit concerned actually. I'm like, Jesus Christ, the D's should be winning this game. Didn't think Tom McDonald had that big of a game. Van Rooyen was a bit quiet. He's not going to be playing now, so they're probably going to bring in Grundy. That's going to be interesting to see sort of what happens there. But on the flip side, obviously Carlton, they were the winners. They move into the semi-finals, and I just do see there will be at least one side that goes out in straight sets this week. Well, the D's would be arguably the more vulnerable side. The fact that they've lost first game, they've lost their 3 finals, and they went out in straight sets last year. The pressure, I mean, it's certainly hitting them at the moment, the D's, and they just want to get this win. Carlton were good on the weekend against Sydney, and that was controlled and dominated really by their first half. That first half, they were just a much better side. They were just a bit more fluent with the ball movement, getting inside 50 and finding avenues towards goal. I thought the second half, Sydney certainly stormed back hard, but credit to Carlton, their defense, the ability to just lock in the contest, because Sydney did have a lot of repeated inside 50s, but Carlton did well to just hold their ground and just edge through a win, because the old Carlton possibly would have lost that game. And, you know, credit to players like Blake Acres and Matty Cottrell, players you wouldn't really expect to be the big name players to add the big games in the finals, but I think those two players had their best games arguably in their career. And obviously, you know, Walsh and Cripps had some moments. Kerner, like they're big star players. I think Walsh had a really good game, but they're big star players didn't necessarily play well, which is, I guess, good for the Blues, the fact that they can win games in finals without their big players being the ones that get them over the line. So, to be honest with you, Carlton, their foreline's more deadly and damaging than the D's. I don't really know what to expect from Melbourne's foreline at all, so that's going to be very interesting to see if they can kick enough points. I think their plays down back and in the midfield probably get them over the line for the D's. It's going to be one of those games where, I don't know, whatever side takes their chances probably wins it. Because obviously in the last week of finals, the inaccurate sides, you know, blew all their chances and lost the game. So the more accurate side probably wins the game. The side that starts hotter also probably wins the game. But I just probably expect that to be Melbourne. I think they'll bounce back and recover. Obviously, Carlton have the belief and the momentum heading into this game with a win, but I don't know if it's a safe tip because it's really a tough one to pick. It could be any team, but I think Melbourne, they're not going to allow themselves to go on straight sets again. And also with Melbourne, their list is too good to have 2 straight sets departures. I think they're a side really that should be playing in the grand final. They're a premiership quality side, and I think whilst they might not make it to the grand final, I think they'll beat the Blues in this game by 14 points in a pretty good game of footy. And a big call, that's right. Got to go the big call. I think, honestly, I didn't really talk about Petrarca, but with Melbourne's struggles up forward, he might need to have a really big game. So I'm going for him to kick 4 more goals. Christian Petrarca possibly be a match winner. And next up, we've got on the Saturday. I'll most likely stream this game. Probably 100% locked, to be honest with you, because I do want to get at least 1 stream a week. It's Port Adelaide and the Giants at the Adelaide Oval. It's really a danger game for Port Adelaide, with Giants in a way having not too much to lose. Obviously, they'll want to win this game. It's not like, oh, well, you know, they've made it far enough, they're not going to try. They're clearly going to try. The power here, they just need to win this game. It's as simple as that. Because we all know their form in finals. They've played a few final series, finishing top 4, and have failed to make it to a grand final. Another failed attempt against Brisbane. Yes, it's difficult to play against Brisbane at the Gabba, and yes, probably no other side could have beaten them with the way the Lions played, but they were disappointing after being in the game for a lot of it in the first half and even early in the third. Brisbane just ran away with it. Port Adelaide's defence was just not good enough. I didn't think Aaliyah was too great. Trent McKenzie could be an injury problem as well for Port Adelaide, and I just thought up forward as well. Apart from Ollie Lord, they didn't really have too many targets. Finlayson, ordinary, didn't really have any efforts at all. I thought Marshall had a few chances early where he should have just gobbled up his opportunities. I thought, yeah, Port Adelaide at the start of the game, way too inaccurate. And that's what's cost a lot of teams in this final series. Their inaccurate starts, and Brisbane kicking 19 goals 9 with their deadly potent forward line. It's just going to be too hard to stop, and it was for the Power. They lost that by 48, so the confidence will be deflated. However, they're playing at home against the Giants, who are a side you just can't write off. We saw what happened on the weekend. They're arguably the informed side heading into this final series, and I'm not just saying that for the sake of it, but the way they're winning as well. They're just dominating teams. Like, they're just such an efficient side. They're one of the best sides when getting the ball, it converting into scores, and we saw it against the Saints on the weekend. They were just so much cleaner with the footy and so much more deadly with the footy as well, and they just look so much more likely to score. I thought St Kilda's defence was poor, but the Giants, the way they just went from D50 to forward 50, really without the Saints being able to stop them, was it was a sight to behold, and I thought the Giants did that really well. They had plays up forward that I didn't think. I mean, Jake Riccardi, I don't know how many goals he ended up kicking, but he was a major influence. Jesse Hogan was good. Whilst Green didn't have his best game, the Toby variant, he still bobbed up with a couple. Tom Green was great. Josh Kelly, and even defensively, it was Sam Taylor and the likes of that. Connor Iden, they're one of the better sides defensively as well. They made it really difficult for St Kilda's small forwards to really gain any possession. I can see this being one of those games where the Giants just come out the blocks early. The Power, not necessarily underestimate the Giants, but they're probably not going to expect what's to come from the Giants. Because last time the Power played the Giants, it was an easy win for Port Adelaide, but I don't read too much into the last game they played, because with the form currently the Giants are in, I don't think they fear anyone. They've won in 11 stadiums. They've pretty much been able to play good footy really anywhere. So, again, I don't think it fears anyone for the Giants. I think they can really go into this game with a lot of belief. I could see this being similar to the Port v Bulldogs game, where the Giants just get out to a really strong 6-goal start, and that might just be the game already. Port shouldn't allow that. I don't think they will allow that, but I'm going to go the upset because I just really want to ride the wave of the Giants. I know they beat us last week, but they're probably the team I want to go all the way this final series. They're a side that you just can't hate. And if any side to have beaten the Saints, the fact that it was the Giants, I'm not as annoyed about. So I think there'll be a side going out in straight sets. And I know I'm not the only person doing this. I know I've got a few people also tipping the Giants, but I just see it happening. I mean, Port Adelaide should win this game, and I think they're probably the more damaging side at their best, but I'm going the Giants, really. Their form is just too good not to ignore, and I think with key players stepping up, they're going to get a good, strong start. The Power will, fight back and make it a close game, but I'm going to go the Giants to just get over the line by 10 points. My big call, Giants get to a 25 or more point lead at any stage of the game. So, obviously, being 2 games, I spent a little bit longer reviewing them. I tipped the Ds and the Giants. Now, looking at my competition, it wouldn't have been too difficult of a round to tip. So, a lot of people got a perfect score, in fact. I mean, look at all these people. Already, 250 people getting them all correct because it was pretty much all the favourites winning. All the people that most would have expected to win on the weekend pretty much got the win. 302. I think that's the most of any round. And obviously, it's finals, it's only the 4 games. But even still, pretty good effort to get a perfect score there. 302 people on my comp. Basindu, Angus, Kidman, and Matt are, with the rest honestly being too far away from winning it. So it's going to be interesting to see if anyone can beat Saskatoon in my tipping comp. Hopefully someone can or make it interesting. But yeah, I guess we'll figure it out by the end of the year after the grand final. Also, as I said earlier, comment down below your tip and margin for this game. We'll be doing a bit of a winner and margin comp, but maybe giving away a couple of prizes next week as well. So, getting the comments a little bit more out there, more engagement in the video. Leave it a like as well if you're going to leave a comment. And feel free to comment something else, something you're looking forward to this week. Which plays they're going to be the big, game differences in this one. And until then, we'll see you soon. Hopefully, I get tickets to the Melbourne Carlton game as well. And again, let me know if you enjoy this new little camera angle. I might change it, I might not, but regardless, thanks everyone for watching the video, and we'll see you soon in my next one.